Hey, inside my checklist book, I've got a checklist that is so important for you to check out. It's called the Domain Name Registration Checklist. Let's check this out. So, there is a lot to learn about domain names that you might not be aware of. Sure, you might know how to register them, but do you know all the different aspects to managing your domain names so you don't lose them? Well, look no further than this domain name management checklist below. Read through it. I'm going to read through it for you. But read through the topics for new information that you might not know about regarding domain names. This checklist was designed to teach you the most important aspects for searching, registering, transferring, working with domain names, managing them, selling them, and so much more. Let's check it out. To get started, what is a domain name? Basic question. But a domain name is unique in that it identifies an internet website. For example, bartscookbook.com is a domain name. So is bartsmithworld.com. Now, I'm just going to read to you the different sections that go into this checklist just to pique your curiosity. And if this interests you, this is a free Google Doc. You can have access to it. You can print it, download it, save it, whatever you want to do. But check this out. Where do you register domain names? Well, for me, I register my domain names at reallycheapnames.com. But you might already have some domain names at GoDaddy.com or Namecheap.com or Register.com, among other places that you could register domain names at. Now, choosing a great domain name, when registering a great domain name, consider these factors. .com only, never .net or .org, unless you're a nonprofit organization. Never use hyphens in your domain name like Bart-Smith-World. No, don't do that. If your domain name is taken and not available that you want to register for, consider putting a short word in front of it or at the end, such as mygreatbook.com or buymybooknow.com. If you place just a 2 or 3 letter word in front or at the end, you might be able to get a pretty cool domain name if the one that you wanted wasn't available. Registering domain names, I talk about that. Bulk domain name search. This is where you can search for multiple domain names, more than one at a given time. Let's say you've got a couple domain names on your mind. Search for all of them at once. Just search for them, and then you could pick the one that you want. Backordering domain names. This is where if a domain name is taken and you want it, you can backorder it. If it ever goes up for expiration and the owner doesn't renew it, you can get it because you backordered it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's good to try. Private registration. If you don't want your personal contact information displayed to the whole world about who owns a domain name, choose private registration and no one will know that you own the domain. Who owns a domain name? Well, you can go to whois.com to try to figure out who owns a domain. You can go there, whois.com, and enter the domain name and see if it comes up. Transferring domain names. If your domain names are registered at different domain name companies, you might want to transfer them into one domain registration company. That way, all your domain names are under one roof for consolidation and better management. One domain name registration company for all your domains. That's what you want. Administrative contact. This is the most important person listed as a contact for your domain name. Make sure it's you and make sure the email address is yours and it's up to date. Locked and unlocked status. This means your domain name is either locked or unlocked. So if it's locked, no one can transfer it out. Nobody can move it. Doesn't matter. It's locked. If you unlock a domain name, then it can be transferred away from where it's registered to someone else or one of your other accounts. Domain expiration date. This is a very important date to remember for all your domain names. You better put the expiration date on your calendar for every domain name that you have. 30 days out, 15 days out. And the company will send you emails, like I said, 30 days, 15, 7 days, 3 days. And then you typically get about a 12-day grace period after the domain name expires to quickly renew it so you don't lose it. Domain name expiration date. Know what that is. Auto renew on and off. If you set your domain name to auto renew on, that means when it comes up for expiration, the company's going to go ahead and charge your credit card on file, make sure it's valid, and then they'll renew your domain name automatically. You don't have to worry about it. In your sleep, the domain name just renewed. Great. Don't have to worry about it. If it's off, then you might want to pay close attention to that calendar date and go in and manually register your domain name. Domain name servers, DNS. This is what points your domain name to a website hosting company. When you register your domain name, if you're going to set up hosting somewhere, you're going to point the DNS to wherever you're going to host your website. And the website hosting company is going to give you the information to point those name servers to. Forwarding domains. This is where you can register a domain name and you don't have to necessarily order website hosting for it. Instead, you simply forward that domain to an existing website. For example, I forward bartscookbook.com to my cookbook sales page on my website, bartsmithworld.com. Pretty simple. I forward a lot of domain names all around the place, different websites, different pages, different uses. Email accounts. Well, typically, you're going to set up your email for your domain name wherever you host your domain name website. They'll give you that information. SSL certificates. This is a secure socket layer certificate that puts the little padlock symbol in the address bar next to your website to let everyone know that your website is secure and protects all the data that the visitors come and, nobody's going to lose anything. So normally they cost about $100 a year, but you can get a free one over at cloudflare.com. Well, if you use cloudflare.com, like I do, you can get a free SSL for all your websites. I love it. It's great. Website hosting. Well, never register your domain name where you host your website. Keep your domain names at your domain name registration company like GoDaddy.com, reallycheapnames.com, and host your website wherever you want, So for example, I host my website on I use groovepages.com, or I have a client, she uses HostGator, and I have another one that uses Bluehost. Well, register your domain name at one main company for all your domain names, and then just simply change the DNS to point to wherever you're going to host. Domain name management. Who should renew and manage your domain names? Your webmaster? Your assistant? Neither. You should. If by chance you lose one or more of your domain names because you let somebody else manage it for you and they drop the ball, your whole business could be like down the tubes. No way. No. So you are the manager of your own domain names. You manage them. Trust no one. Suspect everyone. International domain names. Where do you live? Australia? UK? Canada? Japan? So you'll register a domain name wherever you live. And that'll be your .com.au or .uk, Selling domain names. This is a great section. I'm going to let you read this section. But basically the bottom line is, don't use an online domain name value appraisal website to determine the selling price for a domain name that you want to sell to someone. No, they're just too low. You want to basically create a concept for your domain name or a potential business idea, potential income. Like, for example, if you had a domain name and you built a business around it and you could generate $100,000 a year from that domain name, you would not sell that domain name for $100. You'd sell it for $10,000 or more. Okay? Read this section. It's really great on selling domain names. Buying domain names? Who's buying them? You? Are you buying a domain name that someone is selling? If you are, listen carefully to how they sell you on the domain and the price and how long it's been up for sale. If a domain name was registered 5 years ago and they haven't sold it at $2,000, their asking price, why don't you offer them $500? See what they do. Maybe they'll sell it for $700. And that's it. If you can just get familiar with these items, these aspects of registering and managing domain names in this free Google Doc, you are ahead of the game, So if you want this Google Doc and you want to save it to your Google hard drive or email it or print it, hey, just go to the description box underneath this video and click on this link right here, download and print this checklist. Access the free Google Doc version, click it, and again, you'll be taken to this Google document where you can click File and make a copy to your Google hard drive, or you can email it to yourself as a Word doc. You can download it to your computer as a Word doc. You can also print it and have it in hand to peruse and read carefully. It is vital that you understand what these items are for and what they're about. If you want this in the paperback version, my entire checklist book, well, click this link here where it says get the print version, and that takes you over to Amazon. 70 checklists in one book. Check this out. You get all these checklists in the book. Hot stuff. And that's it. Hey, I hope this domain name registration checklist was helpful to you. I know for me, having registered domain names for the past 20 plus years, it is vital that I too stay on top of managing my domain names. And I got about 50 domain names, maybe more. I used to have a lot more, but I've grown conservative. Anyhow, I hope this domain name registration checklist helps you out.